let's start the next chapter, the master of work. So, I'll read each sentence and we'll discuss it. We have already read it. The supreme harmony cannot come except by the cessation of egoistic will and choice and act in the quiescence of our limited intelligence. So, in the intelligence, there is egoistic will and there is a choice. We are constantly choosing between things. And what is the opposite? That we don't choose and we let the divine decide for us. Samatha, we keep absolutely calm and quiet. And act, we choose and then we act. Okay? So, this supreme harmony cannot come so long as we are in the lower nature of body-mind life. So, supreme harmony is of two types. Okay? One is internal, in yourself, and the other is vertical in the planes of consciousness. So, the first one is the harmony, there is disharmony, total disharmony between our mind, our vital, and our body. They are constantly at war with each other and they never agree with each other. Very rarely do they agree with each other. And even when they agree, the vital and the mind, it is for a wrong purpose. Very rarely does the vital and the mind agree for a good purpose. If that happens, then the person concerned is already in control and he is at a good level of consciousness. Normally, the mind agrees to what the vital normally wants of desires and attachments and ego. Okay? So, that's the first harmony within ourselves, the supreme harmony of mind, life, and body, and also the psychic being. Then next, the other one is in the outside world. The highest and the lowest are seemingly divided. Seemingly divided. The highest is calm and quiet and immutable. The lower is always in motion and mutable. The highest is the one and the lowest is the many. So in every way, the highest is the infinite. In the lower you have finite. So forms, formlessness. So then that also has to be, the supreme harmony has to come there. In other words, even when you are at the highest level and you are in your body-mind life, still you see the oneness and there is a total, you see the divine presence everywhere. So Sridhar is not talking of harmony, he is talking of supreme harmony. So supreme harmony is possible only at the supramental level. Okay? So this is what two things to be seen. And so ego has to go away and we must stop. We must not have any choice. We must be choiceless. Okay? The word choice is very interesting. There are many others who use the word choice, meaning to say that we decide that we want this or that. That has to disappear altogether. Okay? In the Gita, it is sarva arambha parityagi. You give up the beginning of any action by deciding that I will do this or I'll do that. You leave it entirely, you are remaining absolutely calm and quiet. So the word choice is also very interesting. It's for describing the samatha. Okay? The samatha, that means you don't need to, you are equal to everything. You don't choose. You don't choose between this and that. You don't choose between X and Y. You don't choose between A and B. Okay? Completely, you are left absolutely calm. So this is what he is meaning by the first sentence. I go to the second sentence. The individual ego must cease to strive. There you are. The mind must fall silent. So, ceasing to strive is making a choice. Okay? So, the same thing being said in different words. The mind falls silent. The desire will learn not to initiate. There you are. See, they use the word initiate, and that's exactly what the Gita also says. Stop the initiation of all action. Because the initiation starts with the mind. In the mind you decide. Even the most simple things, there is a moment of initiation in the mind. Even such a simple thing as, I like to use this image very clearly because it's an essay, but still, I need a piece of soap. I have to go to the market. Okay, neither good nor bad. There is nothing in it, and yet that the Gita's description, even that has to stop. Okay? Completely you become. What does it mean? It means that the divine will provide for everything. Whatever you really need, it will provide. So why are you jumping about, wanting this or wanting that? Okay? So cease to strive. The mind falls silent, the desire will learn not to initiate. Our personality must join its source, and all thought and initiation come from above. So, what's our personality? Again, I remind you, personality with a lowercase p is your body, mind, life. Okay? And the person is the psychic being and the self. Okay? Person with a p cap. That's where those terminology. Okay? And our personality must join its source. What does it mean? It means to say that our vital must become Chit Shakti. Okay? Our psychic being must join with the Ananda. And our mind must become supermentalized. These are the source. The source of the mind is supermind. The source of vitality in us is a Chit Shakti at the highest level. Okay? And our psychic being is coming from Ananda. So you have to go back to the source. Okay? That's what celebration must join its source, and all thought and initiation must come from above, not from below. Not your mind, body, mind, life, but from above. In other words, you become a very, very happy instrument of the divine, and to use a more interesting word, you become a perfect slave of the divine. Dasyam. So, dasyam to the divine, but absolute master of your body, mind, life. They what Swami uses in the record of yoga. He says you have to combine the two. The slave to God and the master of your own body, mind, life at the lower level. You have to combine the two. Okay? Then the secret master of our activities will be slowly unveiled to us from the security of the supreme will and knowledge, and give the sanction to the divine Shakti, who will do all works in us with a purified and exalted nature for her instrument. So the divine Shakti will do everything for you. You don't need to do anything at all. Don't initiate any action. Leave it to the divine. But this is a little contentious issue, because when you are in the ignorance, you have to decide yourself. The divine is guiding you, but you don't receive the guidance. So you have to be very, very careful. So in other words, the surrender cannot be full at the lowest level. It's not possible. But slowly, slowly, even the surrender, there is a gradation. And as the surrender and sincerity become more and more, then there is a heightening of the surrender also. The more there is clarity, the more surrender comes. It can't come in one stroke. So it's a very slow journey upwards. So the divine Shakti will do everything. Who will do all works in us with a purified and exalted nature for our instrument. Your body, mind, and life are all purified and exalted. Exalted, raised to their highest potentialities. Okay? The individual center of personality will be only the upholder of our works here. Okay? In other words, it will only be the instrument. It will be the upholder of her works here. Whose works? Her is the divine Shakti. So, the divine Shakti does not directly act in the physical world. We have discussed it many times. It requires instruments. And the instrument, once purified, then the divine will come down without distortion and in full force. It will come. Luminous, the individual center of personality will be only the upholder of our works here. Their recipient and channel. There you are. Recipient and channel, because the lower being can be a channel without being a recipient also. In other words, unconsciously the divine is acting through you, though it's a little doubtful, but you're not conscious of the divine guidance. Okay? But when you are perfect, you receive fully consciously, and you also execute the will of the divine. You become a perfect channel, the reflector of her power and luminous participator in her light joy and force. So look at the words light, joy and force. Light, Chit, joy, Ananda, force, Shakti. He keeps coming back all the time to the Satchidananda. Okay? Acting, it will not act. What does it mean? It means that the body mind life is acting, but it is not acting out of mental will or vital will or even bodily will. It is acting, dancing to the tune, if you want to put it in a very dramatic way. It is obeying the divine will fully. And that is possible only when you are absolutely pure. If you are not pure, it cannot be done. So, the acting, it will not act. This is also from the Gita. Okay? Na kinchit karoti, and it is also there that does not do anything and yet acts. Okay? So, Purvam neva karmani na kinchit karoti. That's it. I think that's more or less the words used in the Gita. Because you are not acting, the divine is acting through you. And nobody who is watching you will think that you are acting, but they don't know that you are not acting, it's the divine acting through you. They will not know. Only one who is at a higher level of consciousness will be able to see that. Acting, it will not act, and no reaction of the lower prakriti will touch it. So, this is when you have not yet transformed your body mind life, the lower, the mind will have its own faults and all that, and the vital also will have its own desires and all. It is not yet transformed, but they will not affect the consciousness of the soul. It will remain pure. That's what is meant by lotus leaf in water. You are in the physical world, you are in your body, but your consciousness is absolutely clean and pure. Okay? So, the transcend, when does the body mind life also stop giving suggestions and all? Only at the supramental level. Okay? The transcendence of the three modes of nature is the first condition. You have to go outside your body mind. Their transformation, the decisive step of this change, by which the way of works climbs out of the pit of narrowness of our darkened human nature into the unwalled wideness of the truth and light above us. So, in other words, the first step is to rise to the second level, the spiritual level. That's the Brahman consciousness. The second step is to go even further up into supramental, to change even the lower. Okay. So that's the end of the chapter, the yoga of divine works, and the chapter was going about three modes of nature. You climb three modes of nature. Okay. So now we are fit for flow. You are doing the work and offering your work. Okay. But to whom are you offering the work? You can offer your work to anybody. You can offer your work to even your family members. You can offer to your teacher. You can offer to your guru. You can offer to the divine. But to whoever you are giving, says the Gita, it goes always, ultimately, it goes to the Supreme, the Purushottam, who is the master of the work. So, let's start reading now the master of the work. Who is the master of the work? So, who will read the next chapter, the new one? Archana Di, are you in a condition to read? Doesn't look like she is there. Okay, so Pallavi, Tuesday is your day.
1 minute, Ranganath. Sorry. Just 1 minute, I'm reading.
So Archana Di seems to be coming on the line.
Yes, Ranganath, I was on the line.
Okay, but your voice is very weak, Archana Di.
Now can you hear me?
Slightly better.
Others, if you can't hear me, then Pallavi, you read.
I think we can.
The
Can
master
others hear her?
Yes, Rangada, we can hear her.
Okay, very good. Then Archana Di, go ahead.
The master of the work. The master and mover of our work is the one, the universal and supreme, the eternal and the infinite. He is the transcendent, unknown or unknowable, absolute, the unexpressed and unmanifested, ineffable above us. But he is also the self of all beings, the master of all worlds, transcending all worlds, the light and the guide, the all beautiful and all blissful, the beloved and the loved. He is the cosmic spirit and all is creative energy around us. He is the immanent within us. All this is He. Sorry, all that is He. And He is the more than all that is. And we ourselves, though we know it not, are being of His being, force of His force, conscious with a consciousness derived from His. Even our mortal existence is made out of His substance, and there is an immortal within us that is a spark of the light and bliss that are forever. No matter whether by knowledge, work, love, or any other means, to become aware of this truth of our being, to realize it, to make it effective here or elsewhere, is the object of all this.
Okay. So, on the one hand, we think that the master of the is at the highest level, the transcendent. The Shendra is making it very clear here that the transcendent is also the cosmic and also the individual. And not only that, he is not only knowledge, but he is also power and he is also force. So he is light, will, and bliss, all everything together. So this is you normally don't realize that because we experience the divine only in bits and pieces. But here it is very clear that you must know this. This is the object of yoga, to know that he is there everywhere, transcendent, cosmic, as well as individual. You can identify the words. We'll do that quickly and move on to the next paragraph. The master and mover of our works is the one. So, Shakespeare is saying very clearly, he is the one who compels us and impels our works. He is the mover of our works. But he is not doing it directly. He is doing it through the Shakti and the cosmos. He does it through nature. He is the transcendent, unknown and unknowable actually. Unknown and unknowable in the sense of with the mind. But the consciousness can certainly know by identity. Okay? The unexpressed and unmanifested, ineffable above us. So unmanifested suggests very clearly is the transcendent. He has not manifested himself in the cosmos. Okay? But he can, and that's exactly what comes to the next sentence, next phrase. But he is also the self of all beings, the master of all worlds. So master of all worlds in the cosmos, transcending all worlds, the light and the guide, they all beautiful. They all beautiful. The light and guide is the knowledge aspect. They all beautiful and all blissful is the Ananda aspect. The beloved and the lover. He is the cosmic spirit. So he told you very clearly, he is a transcendent. Now he is telling you very clearly, he is also the cosmic spirit. He is also there in the cosmos. And all creating energy around us. Who is the all creating energy? Shakti, the nature. Okay? So he is also nature. Okay? Although you see, when you are in the spiritual planes of consciousness, you seem to make a difference between Purusha and Prakriti, consciousness and force. But he is actually that. The Purusha is really Prakriti. That's what he is saying very clearly. All creating energy around us, nature. Very clear. He is the immanent within us, the individual. So he is saying that the master is transcendent, cosmic, as well as individual. Inside the human beings, not only human beings, everything. In animals and even in a stone, his presence is there. All that is he. Now this is something that very few authors do, but Srimla goes on doing this. He goes on repeating two words and very rarely you will come across it. He loves to uh, mock the rules and regulations of anything. His thoughts and aphorisms are exactly like that. Constantly he is challenging you and your ideas. So here also, a good teacher of English will tell you never do this, but he is doing it repeatedly. Okay? So, all that is.
Rangada,
Yes, tell me.
I always see it as if he is seeing, are you sleeping or are you actually reading with full attention? If you're a little off attention, you will miss it, like I missed today. Such such phrases, if you're not fully conscious and fully attentive, you miss it.
No, Acharya, I didn't follow exactly what you said. Can you
What I'm
repeat?
saying is the way he writes, these things like
Ah,
uh, all that is he.
yes.
Unless you're very attentive, you tend to miss these phrases.
Ah, that's right.
So he checks whether we are actually attentive or have we gone off to sleep. I take it that way.
Quite right.
Yes.
So, and he is the more than all that he is. So that's interesting. And more he has put in it. MCAT. Okay. He is much more than transcendent, cosmic, and individual. He is much more than that. He is not. He is the infinite. And we ourselves, though we know it not, are being of his being, force of his force, conscious with the consciousness derived from his. So, being of his being, our body is Sat. Force of his force, our vitality is his Shakti. Consciousness with the consciousness derived from his, okay, that's the consciousness is the, yeah, you can say the psychic, okay, or soul is also his soul, the Amsha Sanatana, as the Gita says. Even our mortal existence is made out of his substance. There you are. See, our mortal existence, the body, matter, is made out of his substance. And what is his substance? Sat. Okay? Subtlest of substance. And there is an immortal within us, that's a spark of the light and bliss. Which is the immortal in us? The psychic being. It's an immortal within us, that's a spark of the light and bliss that are forever. Shanga uses in Savitri, he uses the word deathless rose. A rose is beautiful, and the psychic being also is always open to beauty and love. So, deathless rose, and the deathless immortal. Okay, so within us, there's a spark of the light. And the spark of the light is again referring back to the Upanishads. Okay, it says, what is the word used? He is a spark of the divine. Yeah, I forget the word now that he uses. Okay, it's a small spark. It's a small light, which is immortal in us. The spark of the light and bliss. Angushta Matra Purusha. Angushta Matra Purusha is the description in the Upanishads. Light and bliss are forever. No matter whether by knowledge, works, love, or any other means, to become aware of this truth of our being, to realize it, to make it effective here. Here means in the physical world. He is challenging the Buddhists and the Mayavadins. Don't go there and say that I'll remain there. Here. Here means in the physical world, in your body, mind, life. Or elsewhere. You can be also elsewhere. It's the object of all you. Wherever you are, you must realize that the master of the work is transcendental, cosmic, as well as individual. Now, naturally, what he's asking is very, very difficult. Therefore, the next paragraph begins, but the passage is long and the labor arduous. Pallavi, can you read?
Yes, Ramdada.
Yeah, go ahead. But the passage is long.
But the passage is long and the labor arduous before we can look on him with eyes that see true, and still longer and more arduous must be our endeavor if we could rebuild ourselves in his true image. The master of work does not reveal himself at once to the seeker. Always it is his power that acts behind the veil. But it is manifest only when we renounce the egoism of the worker, and its direct movement increases in proportion as the renunciation becomes more and more complete. Only when our surrender to his divine Shakti is absolute shall we have the right to live in his absolute presence. And only then can we see our work throw itself naturally, completely and simply into the mold of the divine will.
So he's warning you very clearly here. The passage is long and the labor arduous. So don't have any wrong ideas. There is yoga is very short. It is not. No yoga is short, and the integral yoga is the longest of all, but the most satisfying. Okay? But the passage is long and the labor arduous, very difficult. Before we can look on him with eyes that see true. Okay? The sight must be absolutely pure. And still longer and more arduous must be our endeavor if we would rebuild ourselves in his true image. So the first is to go to the spiritual plane of consciousness and realize who he is. But if you want to rebuild yourself in his true image, that's possible only in the supramental world. Okay? Rebuild yourself means your mind will become full of light, your vital will become full of pure energy without desire, attachment, ego, and your body also will be in good health. Okay? Then only you have built yourself in the true image of the divine. So that's possible only at the supramental level. The master of the work does not reveal himself at once to the seeker. Always it's his power that acts behind the veil. His power is acting, and the veil is nature. You think that nature is actually doing, but the divine is acting through nature. Okay? That acts behind the veil. But it is manifest only when we renounce the egoism of the worker. What is the egoism of the worker? The feeling that you are doing the work. Now we all feel that I am doing the work. Whatever I am doing, I am doing. But when you rise to the spiritual level of consciousness, the Brahmic consciousness, you realize that you are doing nothing at all. Who is the we? Who is the you? The Saisha or the self. You are the true person is not doing anything, he's only watching. Only watching. Sakshi. Nature is doing everything. That's what you realize. And when you realize that, you know that the divine is acting in nature. Always it is his power that acts behind the veil, but it is manifest only when we renounce the egoism of the worker. So long as you feel that you are doing the work, impossible to see the divine or see that he is working through you. And his direct movement increases in proportion as that renunciation becomes more and more complete. So again, you can very clearly see gradation. Okay? Nothing can be perfect at the lowest level. Even those who are very advanced yogis, their sincerity will be complete only at the highest level. Okay? It's an unending journey. But it is manifest only when we renounce the egoism of the worker, and his direct movement increases in proportion as that renunciation becomes more and more complete. Renunciation of what? Renunciation of the egoism of the worker. You should not feel that you are working, that the divine is working through you. Even mentally, that concept helps. Okay? Even when you are doing and you become conscious that I am doing, if one remembers, okay, that he is doing through me, I am not doing, it helps, no doubt. Okay? It's not an experience, but it helps. Only when our surrender to his divine Shakti is absolute, shall we have the right to live in his absolute presence. And only then can we see our work throw itself naturally, completely, and simply into the mold of the divine will. So the divine will be acting through you only when your surrender is complete. Absolute will use the word absolute. In other words, it's very difficult, but one should not lose hope. So that's what he's saying. It's very easy to lose hope, huh? Very easy. Okay, we go to the third part. What's the time? We got 10 minutes. Who will read? Yasmin, you have the text? No.
Yes, please.
I can read Rangadhar.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There must therefore be stages and gradations in our approach to this perfection, as there are in the progress towards all other perfection on any plane of nature. The vision of the full glory may come to us before, suddenly or slowly, once or often. But until the foundation is complete, it is a summary and concentrated, not a durable and all enveloping experience, not a lasting presence. The amplitude, the infinite contents of the divine revelation come afterwards and unroll gradually their power and their significance. Or even the steady vision can be there on the summits of our nature, but the perfect response of the lower members come only by degrees. In all yoga, the first requisites are faith and patience. The ardors of the heart and violences of the eager will that seek to take the kingdom of heaven by storm can have miserable reactions if they disdain to support the vehemence on these humbler and quieter auxiliaries. And in the long and difficult integral yoga, there must be an integral faith and an unshakable patience.
There you are. Unshakable patience. Patience is very, very shakable at our level. Okay. So I'll quickly go through. There must, therefore, be stages and gradations. He has told us very clearly that in the beginning it's not possible. So slowly, slowly you rise. And slowly, slowly perfection is reached, but very slowly. By stages and gradations in our approach to this perfection. As there are in the progress towards all other perfection on any plane of nature. All our progress, human progress, is always by gradations. Okay? Even when we go into space, it was done in many, many stages. Okay? So even in our mobiles, okay, slowly, slowly the capacity is increasing. 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. Okay? So everything is graded. Chandra is making that very clear. Okay? In any plane. We know partly and then we become more. This is the nature of the progress. The vision of the full glory may come to us before. You may get a vision that this is what you are going towards. Okay? Suddenly or slowly, once or often, but until the foundation is complete, it's a summary and concentrated, not a durable and all-enveloping experience. If it's an all-enveloping experience, it becomes a realization. Otherwise, it's only an experience. And it can come often. Okay? Even if it comes, it will not be stabilized itself. Not a lasting presence. Lasting presence is a realization. The amplitudes, the infinite contents of the divine revelation come afterwards and unroll gradually their power and their significance. Very often, people, yogis, when they are sincere, they get a glimpse of what is going to be achieved. They know what's going to happen. Okay, so the amplitudes, the infinite contents of the divine revelation comes afterwards and unroll gradually their power and their significance. Or even the steady vision can be there on the summits of our nature, but the perfect response of the lower members comes only by degrees. What are the lower members? Body, mind, and life. In all yoga, the first requisites are faith and patience. The faith must never waver. It must become absolutely steady. And patience. The ardors of the heart and the violence of the eager will that seek to take the kingdom of heaven by storm can have miserable reactions if they disdain to support their vehemence on the humbler and quieter auxiliaries. Which are the auxiliaries? Again, body, mind, life. We stop knowledge. They are humbler and quieter auxiliaries. And in the long and difficult integral yoga, there must be an integral faith and an unshakable patience. Here, when he is referring to taking the kingdom of heaven by storm, he is referring very quite openly, because in this synthesis earlier also he has told us that. There was Ramakrishna who did that. Okay? He was absolutely insisting on the divine vision. Dakha de, he was simply rolling in the the riverbed of the Hooghly River and crying that I want to see you, show yourself to me, show yourself. So that vehemence can have a price. And Srivastava mentioned elsewhere that there used to be a burning sensation in his body because he did that. So Srivastava does not recommend that. It's a vital uh, insistence. Okay, it should be a very calm, quiet insistence, but calm, not vitally exalted, excited aspiration. Aspiration should be calm and steady. So, support very well, humbler and quieter objective. And in a long and difficult integral yoga, don't miss the words, long and difficult. Very, very clearly mentioning that you can't get immediate results, but you have to go on plugging away. Okay? Shambhala uses a very interesting word elsewhere. He says chipping away. Okay? When you see something in yourself which is not good, chip away, slowly, build on it. And once that is at it, go on to the next and chip away. Okay? Slowly, slowly, slowly. It's like chipping your way through a mountain. It reminds me of that fantastic story of that the mountain man. Okay? There was a gentleman who for 30 years went on only with a chisel and a hammer. He made a path from one village to another. It would have taken 50, 60 miles, but he cut it through the mountain only, alone, singly, with a chisel and a hammer, and did it in 30 years. So that is sort of patience that you need. It's fantastic.
And Rangada,
Yeah,
Rangada, in
Yeah.
Sri Ramakrishna's case, because of his insistence only, he got the vision of the Divine Mother.
yeah, but there is a price to pay. That's right.
There was a price to pay.
Yeah, his body was burning. Now I told you.
Oh, okay.
There was a burning in the body. Yeah. So Srivastava suggests intensity, but quietness. Combine the two. Okay. So we have only 2 minutes, so we'll stop here today. It is difficult to acquire or to practice this way. He has used the very same words. Okay, he's like to take the kingdom of heaven by storm. And only he could do it because he was an extraordinary spiritual personality. Extraordinary. Very rarely in the history of spirituality do you come across such a case. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, we stop here today. Au revoir, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.